What's up, Primo? How's it going?
It's going good, Primo. Just enjoying the day, man. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing great, man. It's well, we're recording this, and it's November the 2nd. So we got a treat for you, viewers out there. But before we get into that, I mean, this is our first official episode. I just want to throw that out there to
That's
all
right.
our people listening and stuff.
Yeah.
We pushed. We thought of it and we told everybody we were going to do it, but we were at least on my end. I was slacking a lot, so I'll admit that. So
I was
but
too. I was too. I was.
but people pushed us, man. I'm excited. Here we are, first
Yeah.
episode. So I think this calls for a toast. So I got the
Yeah.
notes out for the numero uno, my favorite tequila, Cava de Oro. This is something that it tastes good. It's seven, I think it's seven
Yeah.
years aged in oak barrel and in caramel and chocolate. So it's like a cognac.
Woo!
It's good. So
Wow.
yeah. You got something there for
Beautiful.
yourself to celebrate this
I
awesome
got.
occasion?
I got. Yeah. I got me. Just because I just took my son to go watch that Black Adam film, but I got
Yeah,
me a bottle of
I
Terramana tequila.
like it, man. Shout out to The
Yeah.
Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
That's
And
right.
here's to
That's
him
right.
and his new Black Adam movie too, man. I can't wait to go see it. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. It looks good.
Yeah.
So no spoilers.
Great.
Cool. I'm gonna pour myself.
Absolutely not. All right.
Even though this is more sipping tequila, I'm gonna pour myself a second shot after we cheers to sip on. But hey, primo,
Mm.
to dos primos.
Cheers. Los primos.
Salud.
Salud.
Mm,
Delicious.
good stuff. Like I said, I'm gonna sip on this the rest of the episode, and
All right.
well, let's get going, man. The viewers have been waiting. What are we? I think we have a couple of really cool episodes here coming down the pipeline, but since it is the second, we decided to kind of start out with a bang and do what's this episode about, Primo?
Dia de los Muertos.
There we go.
This is about Dia de los Muertos. Yes, sir.
Cool.
Absolutely. November 2nd, November 1st and November 2nd, but you know, November 2nd today. So
But I would be remiss if I didn't do a couple shout outs today, because
right.
my sister, Argentina, she just had a birthday on Sunday. So big,
Yep.
huge shout out to her,
Absolutely.
to our familia. And also,
Yes.
when we air this, it will be my sister America's birthday. So big shout out to
Birthday. Yep.
my sister America, and we both love you guys so much, and we're so happy you're around.
Yes.
Here's to many,
Feliz
many.
cumpleaños, primas. Yes.
Yo,
Absolutely.
we love you. So, without further ado, let's get this shindig going. So, I wrote down a lot of notes. I love this holiday, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's start out with our origins, and then we'll get into more of the origins of the holidays. So, I don't know.
Right.
For me, as you know, I grew up in a Caucasian family, and so news alert: if you didn't know, listeners, I am adopted, and my adopted parents, they were white, from German and English descent, and even though I grew up in Las Cruces, New Mexico, I really didn't have a lot of the traditions inside the house of the Mexican traditions. We had a bunch of other traditions that I grew to love, and it really was an awesome childhood with that. But shout out to my mom for that. But yeah, I didn't really have it, but yet I was in Las Cruces, so all I had to do, I was very fortunate. All I had to do is run next door, hop over a little fence, and go next door
Hmm.
to what I called my Mexican family's house, and the kind of surrogate family over there too. And they took me in, and they had a lot of the traditions for Christmas and stuff like that. In fact, after my grandma Lucy, my next door neighbor grandma, she passed away. They I don't know if they still do it, but they always put an ofrenda down in the plaza in Old Masia in front of the church and stuff like that. So, I'd go down there and pay my respects and tell some funny stories to my kids about Grandma Lucy, and most of them were me getting in trouble with my bro Dom, but it was fun. It was fun going stuff. So I still, even though I didn't have the tradition inside the house, I still semi celebrated that tradition, um, around the time. So how about you? How about you?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, Primo, shoot, man, I honestly, I don't ever remember my mom putting up an ofrenda at the house, but I do remember as a kid, we used to drive over to Juarez, and just so you guys, in case you guys don't know, I grew up a border town, El Paso, Texas. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about it, but that's where I grew up at in the Northeast. But the majority of our family lives in Juarez. So I kind of grew up El Paso and Juarez, speaking both languages, of course, But anyway, so back to the Los Muertos. So I remember as a kid, my mom used to take us over to Juarez with the rest of the family, and I remember everybody used to kind of like pray. They used to just
Okay.
kind of pray, and we would eat, and it was just, I mean, to me as a kid, it was fun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I get there, I see all the primos, the primas. We start playing soccer in the streets, basketball, start getting in trouble with a couple kids down the street, you throwing rocks at each other, what I mean, chasing the cats, the dogs. I mean, dude, that's what I remember, honestly. It was, for the family, for the adults, I guess I could say, it was more more of a traditional Dia de los Muertos, you know what I mean, and more like tears, more than happiness, I guess. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why my mom wouldn't put one up every year, you know what I mean, and kind of celebrate that holiday because I think to her it kind of bring would bring too much pain to her, loss. No, I mean, who likes talking about death and all that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even for life insurance salesman, man, it's so hard to sell a life insurance policy
Correct.
because nobody wants to talk about or even admit that they're going to die one day. You know what I mean? So, I think that's kind of why I didn't really grow up as the other month being such a big thing. I think for us it was mostly Halloween,
Oh,
because that's when the primos used to come to us in El Paso, and we used to all go trick or treating. Man, it'd be like 10, 12 of us, just boom down the line. All of us
heck.
just trick or treating and causing ruckus, and I can't be positive, but I think me and the one of the primos, I think one time, I think we went bag snatching, but I can't be positive on that if it was me and him or not. But don't worry, I won't say nothing. Um, yeah, man, it was mostly like just Halloween for us. You know what I mean? That was kind of bigger for the costumes, dress up and stuff like that.
For sure.
More of the American tradition side, but now it's become a much bigger thing that I think as an adult as I have my family, I think
Yeah.
it's important for my kids to share that day with their loved ones that have passed away and talk about them, but celebrate with them. You know, of course, food unites everybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we can enjoy that. You know, so I think it's something that I need to incorporate with my family, even though I didn't grow up with. You know, but it's definitely, you know, like my 8 year old, he's always asking for his Uncle Hector and Abuelito Ruben and all the loved ones that we have lost. Even my niece Calliope, you know, he always says how
Yeah.
uh, he always thought he would get to play with her in the backyard on the slide and stuff like that. You know, it's a sad moment to kind of talk to him about, but no, I don't want to say uncomfortable because it's not, but it's still sad, you know,
Mhm.
especially for an 8 year old to kind of think that way. But because we don't let these loved ones go,
Mhm.
um, it's kind of hard for him not to kind of pick up on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean, that's interesting because like the way I was brought up with it, and the culture, at least that I was around, is like celebration. You know, like celebration, fun, happiness, like celebrating their life. We tell stories about like the loved ones and all the cool things that they did, and just remembering them. I mean, taking a little spot out from Coco, the movie, which I think is really cool. We
right,
can get to a deep dive in that
yeah,
later. But it was definitely different for me. Like I definitely had a lot more less somber environment around it. It was very much like let's celebrate. I mean, you go down to our downtown area in Old Mesilla, and there's like mariachis, and they're like dancers, and like man, it's a huge festival. People are eating and just like having a good time. Like it's like party. And they do a procession from the old cemetery down there to the square and stuff like that. And, I mean, it kind of was funny because when I first watched Coco, we'll get into this. Like when I first watched Coco, I was like, "Holy cow, they were in Las Cruces!" Like it must have been because it is in
yeah,
Las Cruces,
so beautifully and bright and everything.
It was crazy. So I
Yeah,
was like, "Whoa, that's really cool that they brought my city to life." Las Cruces, shout out to Las Cruces. That's my hometown. And it's just really cool. The way they portrayed it and the way they brought it about. I think they personally did a really good job. But there's been
yeah.
other like that. The Book of Life. That's one of my favorite. The funny thing is, you probably see that fish tank in the background. That's the saltwater fish tank. And the funny thing is that I love this movie so much, Book of Life, that there's let's see, there's two clowns in there, and that's Maria and Manolo from the movie, and then there's a little rat
Nice.
around, and that's Joaquin, and then the big fish in there, that's La Muerte. So, we have a whole
Oh,
theme going on in there just over that movie. So
nice.
yeah, yeah, I enjoy it, and I
That's
even brought
awesome.
one of my favorite flowers. Again, this was a huge part. Like in all our front yards on the block, we at least, if as I recall, no, Grandpa Clay's had it too, but on my block, my house, my next door neighbor's house, and the other next door neighbor's house, and a couple other houses, we all grew marigolds around this time of year. I mean, just the smell of it reminds me again of my childhood, and it reminds me of Dia de los Muertos, but like definitely kind of gives me that space of remembering my childhood and the good times we used to. Because I mean, I was like you. My mom and dad, they took me out to go to trick or treating, and we paint the town red. We go with some friends, and big old like what did you have actually? So I had a pumpkin, like the plastic
Uh-huh.
pumpkins that I took, and man, we fill that thing up. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. That it was that orange pumpkin.
Yo,
It was round with the little
that's,
black handle. Yeah,
that's
with the little smiley
great.
face. Yeah,
Oh,
I think we all had them actually. And if I'm not
actually, we could have
mistaken, I think I
right,
have a picture. What was that?
except for a pillowcase. It was either you had the big pumpkin or you had a big old pillowcase.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or trash bag or something. I think I graduated to a trash bag when I was in middle school. But yeah, yeah. I think I have a picture if I'm not mistaken, of like me and America, Argentina, my sister Cassie, Alejandra, Melissa. I think it's all of us. We're all in costumes, and we all have that same orange pumpkin little
Yeah,
basket. Man, it was awesome.
you
Yeah.
gotta send me that one,
So
dude. I'd love to see that
I'm
picture.
gonna, yeah, I'll have to send that one to you. Yeah, yeah, it's
It's a
crazy, man. That's what I would have.
that's one of the things I'll just like take one of my pictures and just like put myself right in there as if I was there with you guys.
Yeah,
But
man. Hey, man, you can Photoshop your face on my body anytime, man. Don't worry about it. I won't copyright it or nothing like
yeah, okay,
that.
okay. But I wrote down a couple notes, kind of getting back to the subject of Dia de los Muertos. Like, I didn't know this,
Hmm.
but I mean, I'm sorry to fly. Um, this is a good book to pick up, by the way. If for any of you out there, let me get it. I like to read, and so this is a really awesome book about the Aztecs and Mayans, and just like what kind of went down, at least what we know. That's kind of like as I'm reading some notes, we we lost a lot with the Spanish invasion, especially
Right.
in the Aztec, um, but what the scholars, I guess you could say, and scientists and anthropologists and stuff have been able to uncover and stuff. They've put a lot of it in the book, and here's some stuff. But um, actually, first thought on it, it's spirits were thought to visit as hummingbirds and butterflies. So, like right now,
Oh.
being the second, our grandpa could be flying around as a butterfly and visit us, or something like that. So whenever you see,
Oh.
especially celebrate a lot in Mexico,
Okay.
like you see a lot of monarch butterflies, and it's the time of year. Another movie that a documentary I've watched is this is the time of year that they migrate down to Mexico, to southern Mexico, and through that migration and whatnot, I'm sure a lot of our ancestors saw these butterflies and also these monarch
Hmm.
butterflies in particular. So just cool little note on that. But also, so the Aztecs, uh, actually, so there's a theory that the celebration dates back to Olmec time or older, possibly 3,000 years old, this tradition. So it's not just
Wow.
a like Christian kind of Catholic-ish celebration. This is like old school. It's almost, it could be possibly 3,000 years or older. Um, and
So it
actually,
was something that was came in from the Aztecs, right? So it was nothing that was brought in by the Spaniards or anything like that. So it was
oh,
from the Aztec
this is
Empire.
very like Mexico, traditional Mexico type of celebration. Um, and
Okay.
so the Aztecs' celebration of the death was a month long. It was a celebration where the
Wow.
goddess of death, and I'm gonna try to say her name, Mictecacuatl, something like that. I can spell it
Met-
for all. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll show you the if you can say it better, then go ahead and say it better. But
yeah.
in language, but I mean it's a beautiful name, but very complicated for my lips to be able to say, as other Spanish word Spanish. So,
Yeah.
but it was the celebration was for her, the goddess of death. She was honored and it was from mid July to mid August, so it wasn't around this time.
Oh.
So, other fun fact: the celebration began with the coming of flowers, uh, and where the flowers were collected around the Aztecan capital, Tino. You probably say this way better than me. Tenochtitlan, I believe. Tenoch.
Tenochtitlan.
There you go. Just like my primo just said.
Tenochtitlan. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I know that one. I learned that one in the history book myself.
What we should do, totally side note, and sorry for the viewers, maybe you can stay tuned to this, but we should totally do TikTok or something like that. You teaching me these words and watch me butcher it.
Hey, absolutely.
Sounds
That
like
would be funny, man.
you guys can just.
I bet you I can't even get half of them.
I don't know, man. You can do a lot better than me. Another fact about the dead: the Aztec believed the goddess of death, collected the bones of the dead to make new life. So you kind of think about that, like the Spaniards and stuff coming in and being like, "Whoa, what are you guys celebrating?" That's kind of crazy, but I mean, you really deep dive into that thought of collecting bones.
Right.
And then that's it's recycling. I mean, we recycle paper, like
right.
Energy is energy in my thought. So why would these people, these groups of people, think that you recycle bones into new human beings? That's how we started new. And so this goddess of death would go and collect those bones, so they and recycle them to new people. So pretty cool thought there. And the last little thing I took was Aztec believed to achieve the final afterlife, a journey through 9 levels. That's what was required to achieve your final resting place, your final part of your afterlife. You have to go through 9 levels, and that was the requirement to get to your final resting place. So you have to go through a lot. So during the festival, tools were left out. So you know how we leave out food and stuff like that. They left out food as well, but they'd also leave tools.
Oh wow!
Tools were left out alongside of food to assist the dead in their journey. So the tools would be left out so that the journey through these 9 levels to be able to get to their final resting spot. So pretty crazy.
That's interesting.
Aztecans had this deep dive, like deep appreciation for death, but then also a deep appreciation for the peoples that died. That they wanted to assist them through their death, and if I recall, reading more of the reading was that these stages, like if you were newly deceased, then they would leave kind of more stuff out for you. I might have gotten that wrong, but I think they left more out for you if you're newly deceased because you're just starting your journey. They're helping you with that journey.
Okay.
So, but then that kind of translates to me coming back to modern times. Like, I mean, all the traditions that we've kept around that. The Spanish kind of created this tradition around that, and that's what we celebrate today. So I mean, you think about like the ofrendas and stuff, the altars of they put up the pictures and then they leave food and flowers,
right,
and, stuff like that, and the marigolds to the sent leads our loved ones to us to help celebrate us, in these moments. And
Right.
quick thought for me is, like, I mean, I have this flower here, and I have my ofrenda set up in the other room, and it's cool that we're doing just taking a moment to appreciate,
Right.
all our loved ones that have passed. Grandpa being one that's newly passed and moved on to the afterlife. He left us.
Yeah.
In this plane, this earth, and so it's cool. And we'll tell more of the story later on in more episodes. But I really believe that that man, brought us, the family, together. And, it's really cool that we're here,
Absolutely.
on
Yeah.
this celebration day, but also, I want to honor him in this moment of all he did for, the family, and, all he did for me in this moment of bringing me to you guys. And it's really cool, it's really cool. But then, honoring other people that have passed away on, at least on my side, that I had in my life, and not too long ago. And I mean, it was I think like 6, 7 years ago, my dad, he passed away, and he's on the ofrenda, and I'm just so grateful that he gave me such a great upbringing and all the knowledge that he brought to my life and enriched my life. There's not a day that goes by I don't think about him and all the stuff we smiled, laughed, and cried and yelled at each other about, through the life, and it was just
Right.
But then shout out to my grandpa and my grandma on the Boost family side. They were awesome too, man. I mean, I have probably one of my youngest ideas of a role model was my grandpa. Grandpa Boost, Marty Boost, and he was just a stellar man. He really, at least in my eyes as a kid, he was the epitome of just good, solid man. And I'm so happy he was in my
That's good.
life. And unfortunately, my grandma, she left us pretty early in life, or my life, I should say. She passed away when I was 6. But I still have fond memories of her too. Like, I mean, I can still remember to this day. Like all the going to their house and hanging out. And the funny thing is, one of the uh, biggest memories in my head about my grandma, though, was her yelling at me because I wouldn't brush my
Oh yeah.
teeth. Yeah,
Oh.
I'd never seen this woman, and she was yelling at me. I was a little kid. I wouldn't brush my. I don't know why I wouldn't brush. I just wouldn't brush my teeth, and she really stern with me. I was like, "Whoa, I need to brush my teeth," because most happy-go-lucky, nicest woman on earth was yelling at me. So I was like, "All right, I'll brush my teeth."
Yeah.
That,
That's
but
crazy.
you. But yeah, like I said, my next door neighbor, Grandma Lucy, she was an amazing woman, and she taught me a lot, taught me respect, and to never wear my hat inside a house.
Mm, yeah. That's those
For
are
the
those old school traditions.
right. Everybody that's listening in on our podcast, my primo is wearing a hat, and so I was joking around, pointing at him, saying that, oh, he's wearing a hat. Because if you went into Grandma Lucy's house with the hat on, you might get a chancla. The whole myth of the chancla really is true.
Woo!
For the listeners that don't know what a chancla is, it is a slipper, and that thing flies like no other. She would literally get us. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the chocolate, it was the ears. She would literally grab our ears and pull us
Ooh.
along. Like, I mean, it's probably why my ears and my next door neighbor brother's ears, Dom, our ears are so big because we got in so much trouble from Grandma Lucy. She just grab our ears, yell at us and stuff. But I will have to say that all the scolding she did, one of the biggest memories I have is just her food. Man, she made some good food.
Yeah.
I go next door and it's just like, mm. And no matter what, and I think this is a Mexican tradition. You'd walk in and she'd say hi, give me a hug, maybe a kiss, and say, "You need to eat. You're too skinny, too flaco." We call bird. And so she would
Flacco.
be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, you need to eat. You need to eat. Let me cook you some food." And it was always just like, even if I just ate, sit down and eat. Like she'd always be
Nope.
feeding.
Yeah.
Probably why I'm so gordo today.
Nah, well, I mean, I can't, I know all about food, Primo. Trust me, man. I know all about food. This didn't grow by itself, man. I put years of investment in here. So, man, that's great, man. That's awesome, man. Those are beautiful memories, man. It's just,
Right?
people that made an impact in our lives, and made a difference for sure.
Absolutely.
I have my times, and I could share. I guess my fondest moment with Grandpa.
Yeah.
Uh, I think man. I want to say I was like 4 or 5 years old. Man,
Okay.
he used to wake me up, and so for those of you guys listening in, a grandpa had a ranch house. Actually, he had like land. He used to harvest in, lots of land actually. Um, and when I used to go over there, um, he used to wake me up, man, 4 in the morning, and wake me up, man. Grandma was already cooking Grandpa bean burritos for
Yeah.
lunch, and he had that tin lunchbox. It was. I remember, man. It was black and it was small little tin lunchbox. So the only thing that would fit was a bottle of Coca Cola or two bottle Coca Colas and a few bean burritos. So he would wake me up, and he would ask me, he goes, "Hey, you want to go to work with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Grandpa, let's go."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Okay, put your jacket on, put your shoes on." There goes my mom. She's like, "No, no, no, but he's not gonna make it through the day." She didn't want me to go. You know what I mean? I was like, "No, no, I want to go." And sure enough, my grandpa would be like, "No, no, let him come, let him come. That way he can learn to grow up to be a man." That was always grandpa's thing, become a hardworking man, because that's exactly what he was. And he grabbed me. Man, it was so cold. Man, I mean, it's in Mexico. And a lot of people think Mexico. You think beaches, you think nopales, you think sand, and oh man, that's where Grandpa lived. Man, Grandpa lived in what was called El Bosque, man, and kind of like a foresty area. So it was cold, man. It was always cold. And anyway, so we would jump in his truck, and before we actually got to drive out to the fields, we used to go to this little store, and he would buy in that one store. He would buy corn, and the
Okay.
corn was already wet. And it was a combination of yellow and white corn, and it was like wet. It was like soaking wet. It was already soaking. They would put it in a bag for him. He'd buy a kilo, 2 kilos, and then we drive to another store. And in that store, we make a line. And people were waiting because you would go and you would grind your own corn. You would
What?
grind it. You would fit into this little grinder, and it would just come out. And then I would catch it with a plastic bag. And he's like, "Okay, you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And I would sit there and I would hold the plastic bag as the grinded up corn was coming out all mushy and stuff, like masa.
Okay.
And then we would jump in the truck and head over to another store where there'd be some ladies that were making them and then throwing them
Away.
through the oven, man, and out would come out tortilla. That whole process just to get a little kilo or 2 kilos of tortillas, man. And we
What?
would drive back to the house, drop them off to grandma so that grandma can feed everybody in the whole family breakfast. I'm talking. all the aunts, all the primos, primas, uncles, everybody. I would go with him to go do that, and then we would come back. Our burritos were ready, and Grandpa would start up the tractor, and I would jump up on that tractor with him, and the sun was coming. I remember the sun was coming up, and we'd drive off, man, out to the fields, and when the sun was coming down is when I knew that we were coming home. So this is like, man, it was like a 14-hour shift, boy. It was rough, man. One bean burrito, one Coca Cola on a 14-hour shift, man. Now that I'm in America, I do 12-hour shifts, no problem, dude. With three breaks, one lunch,
Taught
you
you
know. But right. And yeah, man. I mean, just those memories, and he would just talk, man. He would stories, and just talk and just give me advice. And I don't know if he didn't know that I would remember, or that the wisdom that he poured into me would stick to me as I grew up to become a man,
right.
but I think that he had a lot to do with the person that I became. Of
Yeah,
course, I got my dad's stuff. I got a little bit of him, of course, because
of course.
there's no doubt he's a hard worker as well. But
Yeah, 100%.
man, Grandpa, man, that man, if he wouldn't have passed away, man, that would still be working. He'd still be
Really.
working. He's finally now resting. He's fine, and I guarantee you, man, he's probably up there still working. He's doing something. He can't stay still, man. He straight up, man. He was always doing something. You know, so it wasn't feeding the pigs or the chickens, or making chicharrones for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, there's definitely some good memories, Primo, and it kind of sucks not having you there, man. But I know
For
you would have
sure.
loved it. Absolutely, you would have
Oh,
loved.
I know.
I know we would have gotten some trouble. We would have gotten so much trouble, man. We probably
That's probably
fixing
why
those
I'm
tickets
there.
with our slingshots and
I knew that if we were together, then we probably would have ended up in way too much trouble. I was off getting in my own trouble.
Absolutely. Oh,
Because, I mean, shoot, like over at my grandpa's house, um, I was always getting into mischief and stuff and hanging out and whatnot. I mean, I was a pretty good kid, but at the same time, my cousin, Paul, if we had the opportunity, we would take it and we would get into trouble. Like we'd be getting into mischief. So, yeah, I guarantee we would have gotten in a lot of trouble,
hey, yeah, man. I remember me and the other people. I remember I was like, come on. We ended up stealing my mom's car, man, in Bravo. And I took a joyride and came back with two flat tires. And all the tios are outside, man, looking at me like, oh, look at this coming on. What did you do? I was just like, man, I'm about to get spanked so hard. I think I was like 12. I was like 12 or 11. I don't know, man. Over there, there's no age limit to drive, man. You can be like 7 years old, walk into a
right?
liquor
Just
store,
go.
bar order a beer, or drive. There's no really, it's not the city, man, for sure. But yeah, man, we had some good memories, man, for
That's
sure,
awesome,
for
man.
sure.
That's awesome. Such good
Yeah,
time. I mean, and I think, and to me, this is what Dia de los Muertos is all about. Just remembering those good
right.
times, with those loved ones. Whether they're here, still celebrating with us. I mean, like I said, the shout out to my sisters. I'm so grateful that I found them and found you guys just in general. And now we can make memories like that too, and our kids can make memories like that too. Being together and whatnot.
Oh
But
yeah.
like just really remembering those people, and I'm so grateful for you being around in that time and having those memories. I was telling a client the other day of like, I'm so fortunate that you are around and I'm able to hear the stories about like grandpa and I live vicariously through you guys to be able to hear
Right.
what could have been, you know. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for my upbringing and everything I had, but also I get to. It's kind of
Right.
weird. I'm almost in these like two paradigm lives, of like I lived my life the way I lived it, and I'm again I'm so grateful for it. My family was amazing, but then now I get to live this other life of what could have been, with you and
Right.
through you and all my primas and my sisters and my brother and stuff like that, and of course all the
Yeah.
tias and stuff like that give me all these amazing stories. So I'm truly blessed in
Hmm.
that realm and stuff. But um, back to our viewers. I mean, what this is such a beautiful day. What are your family traditions, and what are your celebrations, or was it more somber, or like what is Dia de los Muertos for you? Like please, like I said, this is our first episode, so give us information, give us tell us about you. We are doing this for us and our prosperity of us, but at the same time, we really want to hear from you. How are we doing? What are we doing? What do you think about our show? But then also give us a little insight about you. That's the fun part of this show, is like
Right.
about
Yeah.
your memories. Tell us about your loved ones. I mean, give us that piece of you, and we can celebrate with you and stuff. And no matter what platform you're on, give us a piece of that. So please do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Primo. What else? What else? Anything else you can think of that would be
Well,
talk about for
I
this?
guess, I guess, I guess I could say that um, I'm appreciative um, that you had, even though you weren't around us, even though we didn't have you all this time, man. I'm appreciative that you were raised by a good family
Absolutely.
and your life wasn't, because you hear so many stories. You know what I mean? And there's less fortunate people that go through things like this, and they're not so fortunate, I guess. So I guess I'm appreciative and thank you to everybody that you know did good and right by you.
Absolutely.
And thank you to, and shout out to my sister Cassie for, even though I told you not to, but thank you anyway, because me and Prima wouldn't be sitting here today. And thank you very much for not listening to your older brother.
Absolutely.
And yeah, definitely, man. It's truly a blessing. I'm super excited for what we're gonna do. Um, I'm
Yeah.
excited to get to know you through this podcast. So for the viewers, we're doing this for us. We're getting to know each other.
Yep.
We're gonna catch up on so many years missed out, you know, and we're gonna bring it to life, and we're gonna share this with you guys. So when Primo says like, what is your meaning, or what do you guys think? We want to interact with you guys as well, and if you guys can relate to the story, man, by all means, reach out to us, and maybe we can make something happen. We can interact with the viewers, with the listeners, of course, always. You know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely, man. I just want to say thank you to all that had their part in making our lives come together better, and thank you, Primo, for the hard work you put in to make this happen. Because I know I slacked it a bit, but I'm looking forward to it, man, and I'm looking forward to a much prosperous life with you in it.
Thank you, Primo. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll do my kind of closing thoughts too. Of I my prima Cassie. I'm so over the moon grateful for her for just jumping on for funsies and seeing what she can find, and here I am. My name may not but a huge shout out to my prima, and I love you so much, prima. I can't finally meet you, my twinsy, and so I've heard. But
That's true.
later, definitely meet my twin, and huge shout out to her. And tune in, keep tuned into this show because that we're gonna unveil a lot of stuff that has gone and happened with this family, for better for worse, and there might be a couple tears involved, but lots of laughter, but yeah, no, super, super big shout outs to everybody that has pushed us to get this podcast going. And, I couldn't do this. I mean, Dos Primos is two. So I couldn't do without you, Primo. And I am so over the moon excited to share this process with you. And, we're so fortunate that we get to sit here and just connect and go, basically tell our stories, and
Right.
learn about each other in that process, from everything we missed for my last 40 years, your last, what, 38 years? Ooh, excuse me, 38 years.
38 years. Yeah.
Yep. So 38 years. And so we got a lot of catching up to do. And I hope everybody's excited
Absolutely.
to go along this journey with us. And a lot more of that is here coming down the pipeline, and coming to a podcast / YouTube near you here in the not too distant future. And so we've launched, we've dedicated ourselves, and just to let the viewers know, we'll probably be doing this, or no, we've said we're going to do this. We're going to do this once a week. We'll throw out a new episode. They'll probably be ranging. I thought it was going to be 30, but I was definitely kidding myself. You and I could sit here for 30 minutes.
Oh man, we can go for hours, bro.
Probably gonna be like at least a 45-minute show, if not longer, depending on how much we got to unpack. So I hope everybody's excited for this show. This is our first episodes in the books. So please follow us. Go to the socials. We're on Instagram at Dos Primos Productions. I believe we're on TikTok, where we'll be throwing out. I think we got some ideas for TikTok now. TikTok, I believe. Primos Radio, but we'll be changing it to Dos Primos Productions soon. Either one, just look for Dos Primos, and you'll see our logos and stuff. And then YouTube, we're on YouTube, and you can actually view these episodes through YouTube on our channel. We'll be posting that weekly too. So thank you everybody for listening to us ramble and have a good time all at the same time. So please tune in week after week. Probably be publishing on Wednesdays, and give you guys some fun stuff to listen to. So I guess this is us signing off, unless you have anything else to say, Primo.
That'll be it, sir.
Perfect. So I think it being Dos Primos, and this is our logo. Everybody, deuces. We appreciate you listening, and we look forward to many, many more episodes. This is us signing out. Peace.